hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. Someone's telling me that there's no sound. There we go. Someone's telling me that there's no sound. There we go. Give me a second. All right. All right, cool. Now I should have sound. Hey, apologize for that, guys. I should have sound now. So sound should be there now. Apologies for that. Do apologize for that. All right, Finn, how's it going? You said that you are at least 18 and you want to talk about number 2?
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah. Now, I believe that leftist policies are better for society. Did you want me to explain which ones I'm talking about, or why do you disagree?
I disagree, but I'd like you to elaborate on which policies you believe in.
The policies such as things such as single payer healthcare, investment into our infrastructure, paid maternity leave and paternity leave as well, minimum wage tied to your area, expanding housing, guaranteed housing, reforming our entire education system, things like that.
Okay. And maybe I'm wrong. Would that not be a near socialist society?
Near it, sure.
Okay. I think that I'd agree on certain things. I think that we can both agree that, paternity leave is a good thing. I think that, free education is good. I think that you said guaranteed housing. Is that correct?
Correct.
And why do you believe that? Why do you believe that should be a thing for everybody?
Because we've seen the negative effects of being unhoused, right? It causes not only massive problems like mental health issues, drug addiction issues. It increases crime. So if we can make sure that everybody has a place to live, you'll see all those things decrease.
Right. Okay. Do you think that those that build the houses and those that relatively own those houses, if you believe in private ownership, should get any return for such things?
Like profit?
Yes.
Minimal.
Okay. And why is that?
Because profit-seeking behavior and rent-seeking behavior, it basically encourages to put money, the pursuit of money over the well-being of people, which is what we see with the rent-to-own industry.
Right. All right. So, okay. So we can both agree that housing is a product of work, correct?
Sure.
Okay. And you believe that everybody should have housing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you believe that the people who work to make those housing should give them to people who don't have housing just because they can?
It's not what I said.
Just because they don't have housing.
It's not what I said. The people who make the housing is not just one or two guys, and
it's a corporation.
Yeah, it's a corporation. It's either in those corporations. It's corporations. It's builders, etc. Like it's what's the thing called construction companies. Those people. Yeah, of course they're the ones who build the house, and they get financed by like other people. Sometimes they get financed by the government. Tell you the truth. So I'm not sure what you're getting at here, though.
No. Well, I disagree that everybody should have housing just because they're homeless. I think that a lot of people should have jobs, right? I think that there should be a bigger opening for jobs for everybody, right? And I think that kind of helps with, or is helped by better education systems that is, put in through taxpayer dollars. But, people who are homeless, in fact, a lot of people, I used to be homeless. A lot of people that I met when, for those 2 years, really didn't like or didn't even want to be in a home, right? They were comfortable with where they were. That's definitely doesn't go for everybody, right? I'm pretty sure, 90% of those people, to 75% of those people probably don't want to be in the situation they are in.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them don't do anything, right? You see people begging on the streets, but you don't see them going to ask for work, right? Now, it's harder for a person with ragged clothes and, unshowered, uncleansed people to get a job, right? Of course, that's true. But it takes a lot.
Say that again. You dropped out.
Oh, sorry. I think we can agree that it takes a lot more effort than begging on the street for money, or taking, government aid to get a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now when you start
The issue is here that you're skipping over a lot of problems because number one, we already agreed that being unhoused causes a lot of issues, right? Like drug addiction, like mental health issues. So people who are usually mentally well aren't just gonna say, I'm just gonna go ahead and sit my ass on the street, right? Like it's
Well,
the
that's
people
true.
who are like that are usually those who have a lot of other issues going on with themselves when they can't lift themselves up. But what we have seen is that when you house people, a lot of those issues tend to decrease. And of course, they can go back to it. But if you pair that housing with something like single payer, so they can get mental health services and addiction services, then you wouldn't see a lot of these issues happen, right? So these
I'd
policies
agree.
work in together, in tandem, in together with each other. And they're not just we do one thing and we throw away the rest. You see what I mean? I think
Are you
that's the
paying
issue.
for all this?
I think that's the issue. It's not your turn yet. I think that's the issue with Democrats. As a matter of fact, they'll half-ass something, and then everybody said, "Oh well, this policy didn't work." Of course it didn't. They half-assed it.
Well, sure. And I would agree. You start housing people, they have better mental health and better care of themselves. But the other issue is that when you start taking these houses and you don't give any profit to the workers or the corporation, and no, I'm not saying that you should, pay billions of dollars to be exploited by, the higher up, but it puts many people out of money, right? I mean, I think the correct statistic now is that there's 8 houses per one homeless person in the United States. Um, I think that we shouldn't have that, right? I think that everybody should have the opportunity to be home.
Mhm.
But I think that those that make efforts to do that and to help another person be home should also receive profit for that. And that means I think that we should have a reduction in homemaking, right? I think that there's a lot of land that doesn't need to be occupied by homes, especially if there's an, overproduction of or increase of homes compared to homeless people. But when you start taking these, paidless homes and you give them to those that can't help themselves instead of making a government institute with taxpayer dollars that actually might efficiently do something, because a lot of homeless shelters actually don't really do a single thing and
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
help those people. It solves a lot more issues than just the um, it's an it elaborates more on the issue of or hold on, let me rephrase this. Sorry. It helps extended issues that are also caused by just housing these people, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone would disagree, right? At this point, we're not saying that um construction companies who build the homes are just not going to make any money. Well, when it comes to guaranteed housing, all it is that we're making sure that if someone is homeless or close to homeless or within our society, we're kind of ensuring that that type of a situation where you see people out on the street just sleeping in camps, we make sure that type of situation doesn't happen. Yeah, I mean, like if a person does become homeless because of some reason, either addiction, mental health, et cetera, they can actually go to just like how you said, a shelter that's actually well built, well managed, well maintained, and they can be there and they can get into transient housing, either one of those like tiny homes or basically like an apartment block. I don't know if you ever heard of those, but they're basically like no, they are housing projects, and in America, housing projects actually used to be well funded, and they used to be like a nice place to live. What happened is that black people started moving there, so they cut off the funding. You see what I mean? So housing projects actually used to be good places to live. They were actually made before for poor white people. But once black people started moving in, then it took away all the funding, and the projects are where they are today. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of what we see about poverty and the hood and the projects, it's all just because of racism. But before that, the projects were not a bad place to live.
Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. I doubt that it was because of racism.
No, it's because of racism,
I
bro.
doubt. Again, I doubt that. I believe that a lot of the issues is that, you know, I don't mean this to pin this on everybody, but I believe that when a certain demographic, it could be anybody, that moves to a certain spot and it acts a certain way, that, things aren't necessarily safe or profitable from that area. And so, if there was, I'm not totally agreeing that they should have pulled funding, right? If there was a housing complex that got, money pulled because a group of people, whatever they might be, starts acting a certain way, they shouldn't have that money pulled, but they should have that
Let me ask you a question.
reallocated to it.
Let me ask you a question. You know about Jim Crow, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were talking about a society that didn't allow black people to vote, and you really think that they didn't pull funding when black people moved to an area?
Well, Jim Crow was in the 60s, correct?
I want you to understand what I'm saying. The projects were originally built for white people. This was back in the 30s and hold on, in the 30s and the 40s. That's when the projects were originally built. When black people started moving in, you really think that they didn't pull funding in the 30s and the 40s?
I'm not saying that. Well, I thought you were talking about past 80s, 90s, right?
That's not when the projects were built. The projects were built in the 40s.
No, but there are still projects that have been built within the last 30, 40 years.
Correct. Now, they built the projects. Do they well maintain them? That's the question.
Right now, yeah, I'm not disagreeing that those due to racism during Jim Crow, right? I don't think that's wrong.
Man,
but
it's still due to racism.
Say what?
It's still due to racism. Like the projects aren't funded. Like that the government doesn't really, they don't really do anything in the projects. Like all the money goes somewhere else. Like the way that this was built. Like I'm not sure if you know about redlining. Do you know about redlining?
Not too much, no.
Redlining was a policy, a government policy, where they would see where black people live, and they would put those as high risk areas simply because there is a black area. It doesn't matter if the people had money, doesn't matter if the people had jobs, doesn't matter how they were acting. A black area, they shaded it red, and boom, there's no investment there. No business investment, no insurance investment, no mortgages, et cetera, et cetera.
And that was Jim Crow. Is that modern?
No, it still affects us today. It was made illegal back in the 70s. But do you really think something in the 70s doesn't still affect us today? It still affects us today.
No, I think that per capita, I think that black neighborhoods are generally more dangerous, but I don't think that funding should be cut off. I think that there are genuine issues that you have to recognize with these things, but I don't think that genuine government funding should be cut just because of that. I think that there should be a real allocation of purpose in that money, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of building houses for those that are just going to make the community worse, why not spend that money on things that might help those children that are raised majority without dads or moms or people that work lower end jobs, and help them out, right? I think that would be a lot more beneficial to the community.
Right. So that purpose. So quite literally what they did, they literally reallocated that because when they said, oh, you can't do redlining, so they did quiet. So they just moved out of those different neighborhoods, and they go into different areas. And once there was a surge of black people and black families moving into suburban neighborhoods, they start doing certain things, start hiking prices up, they start leaving, now you see certain areas. A perfect example of this is Chicago, which is historically one of the first city in the United States to be segregated historically, and also has a history of terrible living conditions, especially around different parts, obviously South Side, but also certain parts in North Side as well. And you see that in New York City and New Jersey a little bit as well, because that's the place that I'm familiar with. Yeah, it's been a surge of that, and you see certain people moving out of the areas I grew up in, where it was a higher end. It's like one of the most expensive counties in New Jersey and the richest county in New Jersey, and you see the shift because you see people are moving to different areas. You see higher concentrations like around the shore, where it is historically white, but it's also predominantly white wealthy, and it wasn't always that way. And you see the shift, and you see money in certain schools where you have predominantly black neighborhoods in New Jersey have significantly worser funding when it comes to schools, when it comes to health, when it comes to hospitals, when it comes to what stores are being built over there. You go over to Princeton, and there's very nice. You have a Whole Foods, you have a Trader Joe's, you have multiple Costco's within a 10-mile radius. Well, with Trenton, you have to, if you don't have a car, you're walking, and within walking distance, there's no type of that type of gross level or caliber of grocery store within anything a walking distance, and even with driving, it's a little bit out of the way too. Yeah, red line doesn't exist necessarily on paper, but through action and practice, yes, it does a lot.
Yeah, it still exists today. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so that's what I was trying to point out, Finn. Like those red line policies, they still affect us today, because like how he was saying, the grocery stores, the schools, etc., all of those still exist. And if you're saying that we should go ahead and refund those areas, you're talking about reparations. So you agree with reparations then?
Okay, so reparations, I mean, as far as I believe, is a more general statement for, or at least from what I've seen, is more general statement for slavery, instead of old 1900. Well, right, but the difference would be is supporting a community versus giving a. Oh yeah, hold on. The difference would be is reestablishing a community that needs help versus giving something that nobody is still affected by, right? Slavery doesn't affect people nowadays.
We're still affected by redlining?
Well, yes, but that was much more recent. That was hold on. That was much more recent.
Well, reparations will be for that too. Let me ask you a question, right? Because nothing happens in a vacuum. Would you agree with that?
Say again?
Nothing happens in a vacuum. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, no, a vacuum sucks things up.
Right, exactly. When I say in a vacuum, that means that it happened by themselves with nothing else affecting it. That's what I mean. So like, so we know that redlining happened, right? The question is, why did redlining happen?
For racist control, correct?
Okay, cool. Why did they need that racist control?
For control, I'd say.
Right, but why?
No.
Why do they need control? Why do they want to purposely make black people poor? Why do they want to do that? Where did that come from?
I don't know. Why don't you go ahead and tell me?
It came from the era of slavery.
Right. Okay.
So it's a good point. Exactly. It's all a straight line. So when we say that slavery doesn't affect us, but the most recent thing came from slavery.
Well, sure, but the other thing is like redlining. If it was a direct line from that, and I'm not saying this is you or even the majority of you guys, but I mean, I've heard so many people, in fact, online much more, thank God, that they'll be talking about, people should be funding each family with thousands of dollars, right?
Yeah,
and that would come from. Say again?
Why not?
Because that family directly is not being affected. It's a community thing. You said that redlining was a
community thing. It was targeted towards the black community. Now, of course, there are black people who escaped it. No one denies that.
Well, right. Okay. But if you give thousands of dollars to every individual family that faces these things, you're not going to get genuine benefit from that, because it's just the same thing as tax returns. It's just money, right?
Why then they wouldn't?
Because they spend the same amount they'd spend the money the same way they would with their wage, right?
What do you think black people spend their money on? Do you think black people waste their money?
Yeah, I think everybody wastes their money in today's age. Not just black people.
Right. But what I'm saying is that the difference between between black people and everyone else is that black people have less disposable income. But when you take a look at what black people are spending their money on, the vast majority of it, close to 90%, is literally just going to necessities. Housing, food, cars, products for our hair and stuff like that, because our hair is different from white people hair, right? So we have to buy products for our hair that's different than products for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And those products are a little bit more expensive. So it's like we spend it on necessities. Yeah, I mean, we're not spending it on just like Jordans and chains and shit.
Sure. So the thing is that I think we can both agree that that's not like really living. Right, that if you're spending on this necessity so much that you're not generally living comfortable, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay, so to solve that, which is something that I think should happen for everybody, right? But to solve that issue in the general specific area is that you reallocate that money towards a general community standard, right? So instead of, again, giving that money to individual people or families that would spend the money on the same things they would for a limited time, what you would do is you put that money back into schools, you put it back into businesses, you get it so that people are, have better education, have better opportunities for jobs,
reparations,
have better area.
So reparations.
Again, yes, I think, no, hold on. Right. But not individual reparations, because individual reparations to each family would be wasted. Right?
No one.
Yes. No, oh my God. I literally. Okay.
No one.
Okay. If how much money, if we're to give each individual family of a redline community money, how much money do you think each family should get?
Close to $100,000.
100,000. Okay. And how long do you think that would last them?
A very long time, because Black people are very creative. You'll see you would see like because first of all, I think what a lot of Black folks will do will clear off their debt, because they have a lot of people have medical or credit card debt, so they'll clear all that out. In the first thing, and number two, you'll probably see the biggest expansion of like a creativity in the sciences and the arts that you'll ever see, because with that money, people will be able to invest more into what they'll like to do, their businesses, or going to school, or clearing their debt in order for them to do other things. You know what I mean? So it's like,
well, sure, but how much does that affect their lineage? How much does that affect second, third generation of people? How does that affect the general lasting community? Right? That would affect
well, think about this, right? Jeff Bezos, the reason why he was able to start up Amazon is because his parents gave him $250,000. There's a kid somewhere in the projects in New Orleans somewhere who could literally be the next Jeff Bezos, but he doesn't have
absolutely
money. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on,
yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Jeff Bezos like those type of people are genuine specimens, right? Of course, there absolutely could be a man like that in the suburbs or the projects. But the thing is with the low education level that is within these communities, then you're not going to get, of course, you'd say, sure, they're creative, but you're generally not going to get the same output as you would if you would take that money from people. Okay, hold on. I could branch off this, but I don't want to right now.
That's what I'm saying. Why not
take that money? Because that'll be a complete waste of money. Again,
no, it wouldn't, because you just said it wouldn't be, because if they don't have the proper education level, then there's a concern of that they may squander that money because they're not as good as
50-50?
So what I'm saying is that
would you split it 50-50?
Hold on. What I'm saying is that if you invest within the schools, you make those better, right? And you give the parents the money in order for them to get out of their debts, in order for them to fix their housing, in order for them to get better food, better nutrition, et cetera, then their kids will be better off as well, right? So if you do it both, then that improves the community, doesn't it?
Well, sure, but do you think that each family should get $100,000 and then on top of that put money into the community?
Yeah, because they're going to circulate that money into the community anyway, aren't they?
Well, sure, but the other thing is where is this money coming from? You're giving hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars to communities of money that's probably going to be taxpayer money from those who didn't have any involvement in it, correct?
Did the government have involvement in it?
No, the taxpayer, right? If I go live off in Colorado, right, and then my taxpayer dollars are going to reparations to a dude in whatever, New Jersey or Chicago or etc. I didn't have any involvement in that, right? I was born 23 years ago, right? I didn't have any involvement in that. I didn't have any participation in that. But where is this money coming from, right? Why would you take this money from other people who deserve the same chance at the same opportunities that these people do, but these people are taking my money to have that same opportunity for them? Is that not unfair?
No, let me ask you a question. Are you saying that me, where I live, my tax is going to, I don't have any children yet, right? My tax is going to the local school system. Are you saying that I'm losing something because my tax is going to the local school system for those kids to get an education? Am I losing anything?
Well, I think that it should benefit your community, right? If you live somewhere and your taxes go to somewhere that helps your people, no, you're not losing your money. But if it's going to people who are demanding something for something that you don't benefit from, if I'm a white guy, right?
Here's the thing, Finn. You will benefit if the black community gets better, wouldn't you?
Generally, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you're answering your own question. America will actually get better if reparations were to happen. The black community, if the because the government spends at least a quarter of their of the budget like just servicing poverty. Yeah, I mean, if that doesn't exist anymore, then we'll be better, won't we?
Sure. Now, but the real question is, why do taxpayers have to benefit that? Why can't we take that money from other government systems that use that money to go into things that are unneeded? I don't think it needs to get into. I don't need to branch off, and this doesn't need to be another conversation.
What things do you think are unneeded? What do you mean by that? I'm not sure what you mean.
I was gonna branch off into another argument. I'm just saying I don't want to. I want to stay on this, but I'm gonna say something that might start that. I think that a lot of the money that we use on giving money to other countries, such as Ukraine or Israel, that doesn't need to happen, right? And I could go into a better system that might help our people, right? Of course, that's still taxpayer dollars.
I don't really disagree. I got you. I don't really disagree. We shouldn't be out here paying Israel to commit a genocide. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that we shouldn't be sending our taxpayer dollars to other countries to wars that we don't involve ourselves in. I think that the taxpayer dollars that are paid for that should go back into the American people, right? And so instead of the taxpayer paying for wars that they don't want or brainwashed to thinking that they want, and then paying on top of that reparations for a community that benefits America, that's so much money that's coming out of the normal day average citizen's paycheck that it's incredible, right? Mm-hmm. I think that I don't even know, dude.
No, I agree with you. We shouldn't be funding wars. 100% agree with that, right?
Right.
My only thing is that in improving the black community, it will take a lot of external and internal things to happen, right? But externally, the thing that would do it the most, in my opinion, is reparations. That's all I'm saying. So like I don't have any beef with us not funding Israel, or Ukraine gets a little bit of money because we do have a treaty with that, so that gets a little bit muddy. But so funding for wars, funding Israel killing and slaughtering Palestinian children, we shouldn't be funding that. I agree with that.
Okay, right. And I think that the overall benefit of putting that money back into the to everybody, right? To the black community, to other communities that are, I guess, diverse, I guess is the word, or everybody, right? I think that all taxpayer dollars that goes to communities or things that they shouldn't be going to be put back into better schooling, businesses, so they can help expand job opportunities and etc.
100%. I don't disagree with that at all. Now there is one last thing that I want to point out, because I did see a few of the comments. It actually is a myth that the fathers are completely gone from the black homes. I don't know if you ever seen that CDC study. Have you ever seen it?
The what study?
A CDC study that actually looked at the homes of children with unmarried parents. And it showed that the black fathers are actually the most involved in their children's lives. And when they're married, it increases as well. So it's not really the fathers really missing.
I'm asking the CDC, you mean the Control Disease Center, right?
Yeah, they regularly do those type of studies.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll go look into that.
All right, cool. Not a problem. All right, so Finn, we are a bit out of time. I did put more time on the clock because there was more to say, but I appreciate you being up, and you have a good night. All right.
Yeah, you too, bro. Have a good night.
All right, guys, I appreciate you. We're going to move on to our next guest. His name is Ray. Ray, give me 1 second, please. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all all for being here. Shout out to you if you're watching me from the Deconstruction Junction. I do see all the comments about Democrats in the Deconstruction Junction. Don't know who told you I was a Democrat, but whatever. The link to join is right there. It's pinned, tiny.cc/Volsi Live. Same over on the Volsi Thoughts channel. Thank you so much for watching me over on the Volsi Thoughts channel, tiny.cc/Volsi Live. You guys can go ahead and join me there. And if you're watching me over on the Black Atheist Coalition. I thank y'all for watching me over on the Black Atheist Coalition. Again, y'all, I'm not reading the comments. So if you want to join me and if you're responding to anything I say, I'm not going to be able to see it because I'm not talking to y'all. So tiny.cc/Volsi live. Let me just see a random name here. Bradley over on the Black Atheist Coalition. You can come on up and talk to me. Shout out to Professor Hizzle. Shout out to Weed Bro. I thank y'all so much for being here. I don't see any ops there, but whoever the ops are in the comments over on Volsi Thoughts, you guys can go ahead and tell them to come on up. And over on the Black Atheist Coalition, there are a few folks who are there speaking, whatever y'all names are. Go ahead and go to tiny.cc/Volsi live, and then we'll talk more, okay? Thank y'all once again so much for being here. We're going to move on to Ray. Ray, how's it going, sir? Are you at least 18? And which number did you want to talk about?
Yes, I am 18. I'm above 18, in fact. But I would like to talk about number one and a statement you made with the previous guest. I would like to look over as well.
All right, sure. So number one, yes, being woke is good. What do you think woke means?
By like modern terms, at least.
Well, when we say modern terms, I've always questioned what do people mean by modern terms, because the way that one community has used it
in a revisionist way is what I'm trying to say.
Right. That's what I would ask for. Why should we accept the revisionist? Why should we accept that?
Why should we accept the revisionist? Is because that's how society portrays it to be. I mean, liberalism in modern day form isn't the same when it was first created 300 years ago.
Of course.
That's revisionism.
Of course. But Ray, hold on, slow it down for me. What I'm saying is that whenever something is revisionist, right, is because it has some sort of utility. What was the utility of changing woke from a positive definition of being aware of racial injustice to just being a placeholder for racism? What was the utility there?
The utility just I'm confused on what you're asking me exactly.
The reason why definitions and things change is because when society moves along and they change a definition of a word, or a word is used a different way, is because it has a different utility. We're using it a different way now. And there's a reason why it has a different utility, like the R word, right? The R word used to mean someone with just an intellectual disability. Then it became a slur because people were using it as an insult. Yeah, I mean, and not only that, using it as an insult, but using it to dehumanize people. So then it became a slur, which is why we don't use it anymore in polite conversation. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to get to. There was a utility there. When it comes to woke, the Black community has always used it to mean being aware of racial and social injustice. Then in 2015, white conservatives heard it and then just used it as a placeholder for racism.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm just saying the definition of a word changes over time. It doesn't need to be, going from good to bad like the R word. I was just saying that words drastically change definition over time by the setting of the environment. That's all I was trying to say. Right, I was trying to get a better understanding.
But Ray, what I'm asking is, why did they do that?
Do what? I mean, I don't know. What are you talking about? Why would I know the exact definition of why they changed the word woke or anything in the Revisionist Act?
All right. So Ray, you agree that the way that modern conservatives use it is just be racist?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think they have the full understanding of the definition.
Right. So there's no reason to accept their definition.
But it is a definition that they have, and it is implanted in society. People use that definition. So I have to make sure you're not talking about that so-called definition.
Right. I'm not talking about that. So I'm not talking about that definition because the reason
that's why I wanted to know. That's all I asked.
Okay, I got you. All right, cool. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Being woke is good.
So you think like acknowledging the past and the past humiliations of the Western world is a moral good? Like slavery and so-called like stuff like that?
Acknowledging the past humiliations? What do you mean?
Like you just said, like for an example, you were saying like
awareness of racial and social injustice. Okay, yeah, got you. Yeah, it's good to acknowledge those things.
Wouldn't that just lead to a state of sorrowness if we constantly have to like apologize, especially for white people, if they constantly have to apologize for their own existence and their own history? How are we going to progress as a society?
We can progress as a society. No one's saying to you to apologize for your history. Like you weren't born in the 1940s. You didn't lynch anybody. So you can't apologize for that. But you can recognize that it happened, what it led to, and work in a way for us to be better. Like dismantle systems that are built from it, right?
I don't really agree. I think we can acknowledge the past, but we shouldn't let it define who we are, which is what woke considerably is, and what many Black people are doing. They're talking about how they want reparations for the past. Get away from the past. Try to thrive for a new beginning in a way.
Does the past not affect us?
Slavery does not affect you in America. I can say that pretty confidently. Yes.
Where do most Black people live?
Huh?
Where do most Black people live?
Probably in Africa.
No, I'm talking about in America. Where do most Black people live?
Well, America is a past European country, so I'm guessing they're not going to be a high status as a Westerner or European.
That's not what I asked. That's what I'm asking you.
I'm just giving you a definition because you're the United States.
In the United States, where do most Black people live geographically? I'll be fair. I wasn't clear. Geographically, where do most Black people live in the United States?
Probably Black areas, honestly, which is usually the most impoverished.
When I say, okay. Well, I'll get to that. When I say geographic area, I mean north, south, east, west. Where do most Black people live?
Oh, south.
In the south. Great. Why?
Probably because the slavery impact, but that doesn't actually impact how you live in a society.
Okay. Now you already brought it up. You already brought up that most Black people live in impoverished areas. Why is that? You already stated that a lot of Black people, at least a quarter of us, live in impoverished areas. Why is that?
The exact definition would be quite long to go under.
I'm not asking for a definition. I'm asking you.
I would say that the cultures are different, and if you want the exact definition,
they're not. I'm not
100% different.
Hold on, Ray.
Where you come from, I come from. Two different continents, two different cultures, two different identities.
Ray, you need to slow down.
Two different morals.
Okay. The only time that I mute people is when you don't slow down. You're going a mile a minute, Ray. Yes, the cultures are different, but being in poverty is not because of the culture.
How so?
Because Black people were purposely put in poverty.
Exactly, because you were slave for many years.
That's not culture.
Exactly, but why are we going to now say, "Oh, we're so sorry, we have to give you reparations"? Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that.
Ray, be quiet for a second. You just said that the reason that Black people are in impoverished areas is because of culture, but you're also admitting that we were purposely put there because of slavery, which is not culture. It's a systemic issue. Like, what are we saying here?
200 years. I'm confused what the fact is. How did slavery impact the thing that you're doing in your life right now at this moment in a negative sort?
Okay, so
answer that, please.
I'm answering you. The reason why is because all the discrimination, all of the stereotypes that Black people face came from slavery. They did not?
Dude, the stereotypes of every race. What are you talking about? That doesn't negatively affect you in a sense. What are you talking about?
Ray. Listen to what I'm saying to you, okay? One of the main reasons, because stereotypes are not just stereotypes. People just laugh at it, right? Stereotypes lead to discrimination. So when Black people face discrimination within healthcare and within employment, where do you think that comes from?
Can you give me the answer instead of asking?
It came from slavery.
The reason why most Black people don't have medical care came from slavery?
That's not what I said. I said when Black people face discrimination in the medical field, in real estate, and healthcare, and in employment, is because of stereotypes, and those stereotypes came from slavery. That's what I'm saying.
Who are the people who are mainly in those jobs? What race are they? Exactly. I mean, humans themselves are tribalistic. We're going to have a sense of cohesion towards our own race.
But Ray, I just proved my entire point to what I was saying to you. The poverty of Black people is not because we have a different culture. The poverty of Black people is because of racism, and racism is not a culture. Racism is
what I said. It's never racism, violence for all races.
I'm like, no, actually, I'm gonna call this out. Race. I'm like, tribalism exists, but racial tribalism doesn't. That is a fairly new concept.
That is not true at all.
It is absolutely true, because you want to know how people were tribalistic prior to the concept of race. They tribalistic based off religion and ethnicity and nationality.
And culture and history, which you don't have the same culture or history of me.
I'm like, do you know what ethnicity is?
You do realize that you're sort of contrary.
Do you know what ethnicity is?
Yes.
So I'm like, so you should know that ethnicity, a part of an ethnic group, is their cultural identity. So you didn't need.
We don't have the same culture. White and black people do not have the same culture, nor do they have the same history.
Again, mute, because you keep on coming off of mute.
Tanisha, stop. Nigga, please. I can't hold myself.
All right.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna show you.
Yeah. That's an automatic drop.
Notice he didn't talk to you like that.
Mm-hmm. That's an automatic drop. That's an automatic drop.
Notice he didn't talk to you like that.
I noticed.
You like that.
Yeah, I noticed. A lot of y'all be some cowards, bro. Y'all be some cowards, bro. I tell you.
He went to Tanisha. Well, so you went to racial stereotypes, proving Rolfie's point that racial stereotypes perpetually harm.
Exactly.
I'm like, there's nothing you're talking about is and I didn't contradict myself. He said that the tribalism based on race is something. Also, all white people don't share the same culture. Black people in America do. Black culture is a thing because of how it was formed. White culture isn't.
Yeah, exactly. Because white people don't share the same culture.
Volsi, for example, based on your definition, Volsi and I don't share the same culture.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the same ethnicity, or history, or lineage.
Exactly.
So tribalism has based on race is not a thing, because racially, Volsi and I are racially the same, but we come from two separate ethnic groups.
Exactly. The languages, the way we cook the food. Now that doesn't mean that we can't get along or there's not similarities. You know what I mean? Italian and Spanish. There are differences. Exactly. Like I've always said it like this: Italian and Spanish have major similarities, but you can tell the different languages. Same thing with being Haitian, being Jamaican, being African American, being Nigerian. Yeah, I mean, like you can see some overlaps there. You can see some major similarities, especially the bombastic side eye, especially the rice. You know what I'm saying? You'll see major similarities, but do they have differences? Of course. You know what I mean? Spices are,
and they have differences for a reason.
And for a reason, exactly.
Yeah, they have a different because Black people within the United States, just like Black people in the Caribbean, went through ethnogenesis, and because of that, and because of the history and slavery, along with like rape, forced intermixing, then you have like very small portions of Native American ancestry, and then also the form, and also all of the West and Central African tribes that came together to also we formed a new ethnic group over the past 400, 500 years. That is what an ethnogenesis is. We went from one thing to a whole entirely new thing, and that applies to Black people in the Caribbean as well. Yeah, which is why also, like, when people try to Black Americans are Africans, it really gets on my motherfucking nerves, because I distinguish being of African descent and being a continental African. To me, those are not the same thing, and I think it's disingenuous when people try to say that they are.
Actually, I agree with that. That's the first time someone broke something like down to me, right? Because I've always like, why people are offended by being called African. I was wondered, but like that distinction is actually true. Yeah, there's a difference between African descent and being from the continent, like a continental African. That is true. Yeah, just like how a lot of white people are European descent, but they're not continental Europeans. That's really true.
Because let's say. We've been in the Americas for over 500 years. We have new ethnicities, cultural foods, languages, music, etc. have been formed over. Let's say that I were to go to, because my sister did her DNA test, it came back 30%. So let's just say, for reference, I go to Nigeria. If I am African and my predominant ancestral ties to Africa is Nigeria, tell me how I am supposed to connect with an ethnic group and those ethnic groups in Nigeria that, one, Nigeria did not exist when the transatlantic slave happened. And but also those ethnic groups also moved went on to the ethnic groups that we descend from also went on to and went through their own things, have their own history. How am I going to come to Nigeria and claim to be Yoruba or Igbo? How is that accurate?
Yeah, it wouldn't be accurate. You want to know the language, the religion. Now, of course, one thing I've seen when a lot of black people, like from the Caribbean and America, go back over to Africa, yeah, there's an adoption ceremony and they bring us in. Yeah, sure, but without that, we still got a lot to learn, right? We still got plenty to learn.
But even with that, we have to. That's the thing. We have to learn.
We have to learn
those things. And there's a reason we have to learn.
What's up,
because we are removed from those things.
Yeah, exactly. We're removed, so we have to learn it.
And new ethnicities formed as a result of that. So if I have to, but here's the thing. If it was truly my ethnicity, I wouldn't have to learn it because I would have been socialized with it.
Exactly.
I grew up in a Black American household. I grew up with Black American food, Black American traditions, Black American culture, Black American history, right? Mm-hmm. I don't have to learn to be Black American. I was raised in a Black American household with Black American dishes, food, grew up in a community of Black Americans, went to a Black American church when I was a Christian, right? Mm-hmm. And even then, the Negro spirituals, right? There are even as problematic as it is, Black American culture in the church is very much a cultural thing.
Yeah, exactly. And and the thing is, even when it comes to people who are immigrant born like myself, because my parents moved over here in a time where the culture of Haiti was one thing. They taught me that culture, right? But right now in modern day Haiti, they have something completely different. There are words in Creole that I don't even know because they were created over there while we're still over here, frozen in the same language. Whenever I go back to Haiti, they know that I'm American because not only just because of my accent, but because the way that I speak Creole is different from the way the modern Haitians speak Creole. You know what I'm saying? So even that is a culture I still have to learn. You feel me? Well, give me 1 second.
Exactly.
Kay. Yeah, give me 1 second, Kay. Prince, are you there, Prince? Yeah, you're on. There you are. All right.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm listening.
Gotcha. All right. Let's get to Prince. Prince, are you at least 18? And which number did you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm over 18, and I'd like to talk about number 3.
Number 3. Okay, cool. Now, Prince, you're going to talk to me for a few minutes. I do have my mod K up here. There are some times where she may interject, but typically for the first 10 minutes, we're going to talk one-on-one, and then she may go ahead and add in her 2 cents. Sound fair?
Sure.
All right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and put that time on the clock. You'll see it right there. There it is. All right, so talk to me for about 10 minutes, and then she'll go ahead and clock in, and then I'll extend the time whenever we need. All right. So number 3 says, can you give me a good reason to believe in your God? I am an atheist, but I call myself an agnostic atheist, meaning that I don't absolutely say that there is no God or gods at all, because I can't go ahead and back up that claim, but I don't have the evidence to say that there is one. And the fact that a lot of things that we know in our universe can be explained through natural means, I don't see a reason for why our existence in of itself can't be explained through natural means, and we just don't understand it yet. So I would lean on that. I don't believe in a God. One probably doesn't exist, but I can't say that one definitely doesn't exist as of yet. What'd you say?
Well, I can say that one does exist. And there is evidence all over the world to suggest and explicitly prove that this world and everything in it was created through intelligent design.
All right, sure. How do you prove that?
Well, for instance, we're having a conversation right now. And the reason why we're able to have a conversation is because you and I both have functioning brains, right? Mm-hmm. And these functioning brains allow us to communicate with one another and function in the world, right? Everything in this world was already here before we got here. Mm-hmm. And someone knew that we would need a functioning brain in order to utilize everything that was in this world before we got here.
You put in the cart before the horse.
You can say that. I can understand why you would say that, but
No, you're definitely putting the cart before the horse. You're just assuming that's something new that we would have our brains, but you haven't proven that that's something is even real yet.
So let's analyze what I just said. Everything in this world, right, that we utilize was already here before we got here. Is that a true statement or is that a false statement?
No, that's a true statement. I'm not saying that it's not a true statement. What I'm saying is that
no.
Hold on. What's I gonna say by step? So I'm not saying that's not a false. I'm not saying that's a false statement, right? Everything here was here before us that we can utilize was here before us. I'm not denying that. What you're saying is that our brains were made to utilize those things by something else. Yeah, I'm saying you're making a connection. You're putting the cart before the horse, basically. It's a non sequitur. You can't say just because we have brains that can utilize things that exist in our world, something must have made our brains to utilize these things.
Actually, I can say it. You don't necessarily have to agree with it, but I can say it.
No, you can say it. What I'm saying is a non sequitur doesn't follow.
Okay, so that's why I said let's break it down piece by piece. So in order to operate in this world, you need 5 senses. Would you agree, yes or no?
Yeah. Okay. Let's just get to the end because I already know what's going to happen.
No. We need to break it down. Honestly,
no, we don't. We don't. Because I've already heard
you
this.
Don't want to. No, don't, or you don't want to.
Listen, I've already heard this. You think you're the first person that told me this before?
I'm not interested in what you talked or who you talked to before.
All right. Listen, Prince. Don't get snarky.
I'm not snarky.
Yes, you are. You're getting snarky.
I am not interested in who you talked to before.
I understand that. Snarky. No, it is snarky because, like, again, what you're saying, I've heard already before.
And that I can care less about what you've heard before. This is a new conversation between you and I.
Prince, do you want to actually have a conversation or are you just going to be snarky, bro?
I'm not being snarky. Why do when people talk with authority? I'm going to need
you to
put it down, bro.
Prince, that's the point. You have no authority here.
Yeah,
you are a guest.
Yeah, so Prince, I'm going to need you to take
wait,
it down.
Hold on, okay. So me being
Prince,
guest, what does that mean?
Prince, talk to me. Take it down a notch. All right.
So what I'm trying to
Prince, hold on. Take it down a notch.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So I understand that we have senses. What I'm saying is that nothing what you say leads us to a God. None of it.
Well, you haven't let me land my plane, so you wouldn't know that.
Okay, we have senses. What about our senses?
Okay, thank you. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so everything in this world was already here before we got here, right?
Agreed.
And yet we have 5 senses
Agreed.
in order to utilize those things in the world.
Agreed.
Right? You know, let's use basic common sense. You are utilizing an app, right?
Yep.
A computer in order to put your thoughts abroad to people, right? But the only way you're able to, right, it was made by somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you follow that pattern of things being made by somebody else, why is it easier for you? And this is a real question. Why is it easier for you to acknowledge that these things are made by somebody else, but the world itself was not made by somebody else?
Because
does that not seem asinine to you?
Hold on, Prince. These things are not natural, are they? You're not going to go into the middle of the forest and find a computer made out of wood. You're not going to find that. These things are not natural. Hold on, Prince. I'll let you talk. These things are not natural. All right. We form these things out of the ground, or we form these
using what?
Out of material that we found on the ground, like iron ore. Hold on. Let me finish. We use iron ore. Yes, we use our intelligence as well, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying, hold on, Prince.
Now you're tracking.
Chill out, bro. Yes. We use our intelligence.
I'm gonna mute you.
Yes. So yes, Prince, we use our intelligence. No one is denying that we use our intelligence. But just like I said before you wanted to land your plane where I knew you were going to land your plane at, none of this leads us to a God. None of it. Because you asked me a question, right? You said that everything I'm using right now, like this computer, this mic, was made by somebody else. So why can I think that the world was made by somebody else? Because the world is natural. This microphone is not.
Okay. May I respond? Yes, no, maybe so.
What was that? You cut out.
I said, may I respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so when you use that word natural, you throw that word natural around as if it holds any weight. So let me make sure I'm understanding you correctly. When you say the word natural, what do you mean by that?
I mean, something that's basically not made by humans.
Okay. Can you give me one example of a natural thing that was not created by somebody else?
Roses.
Roses was not created by somebody else?
No, roses pop from the ground.
From what?
Seeds.
Who made the seed?
Trees make seeds.
Who made the trees?
Trees evolved millions of years ago.
Evolved from what?
Evolved from prior organisms. I don't know. Talk to a botanist.
All I heard you say was, I don't know. That's the key word. So let me ask you a question.
So Prince.
Wait, no.
Prince,
No,
Prince, no.
I
I
know you listen to you.
I know you listen to me. Gonna be quiet.
Prince,
All right, so Prince.
you-
So Prince, give me 1 second, Kay. All right, so Prince, these things that we're talking about, you have to talk to a botanist or evolutionary scientist. All right, you're assuming that trees were made by someone, but you have no reason to assume that.
Okay, fair enough. But what I can say for sure is that because you said you don't know, we probably shouldn't take your word for it.
I'm not gonna take yours either.
Well, I have more weight behind my reasoning than
you don't.
Yours.
No, you don't.
So here it is. Here's my evidence. My evidence is you can't get something out of nothing. Is that a true statement or a false statement?
No one said anything different, bro. But that's not evidence of your claim.
You didn't answer my question, sir. Is that a true statement or is that a false statement?
I did answer your question. What I'm saying is that
true
no one claimed
false.
No one claimed differently, bro. So there's no point in you saying
that.
But
you do believe that. But here's the
true
fact.
or false,
Prince does believe that.
Everybody
believe that,
everybody pause, because we're gonna get there. Okay, we're definitely gonna get there. Yes, it's true. Something can come from nothing.
So we both
but
agree.
Nothingness doesn't exist. There's no such thing as nothing.
Okay, so we both agree you can't get something out of nothing.
Yes, but that's not evidence of your claim,
which
bro.
means, excuse me, sir, can you let me finish? I know you're anxious to talk, but relax.
No. This is what we're gonna do, Prince. This is my stage, okay? So that means that I can interrupt when.
Do you feel threatened?
No, I don't feel any threatened because I've already heard all this shit. Be quiet, sir, for a second. I don't feel threatened.
Why are you flexing?
I need you to be quiet for a second. I don't feel threatened by anything, my guy. Because as I said,
there's no need to flex.
Hey, my guy, you're gonna need to be quiet because while I'm talking, you don't talk. The middle of my sentence is not interrupting the beginning of yours. Okay, so the beginning of the middle of my sentence doesn't interrupt the beginning of yours. So everything that you've said, I've heard before, and I know you're gonna say that you don't care about that conversation.
I sure don't care.
I know you don't care, but you're not doing anything new here, bro. I've heard all this before. You're not doing anything new here, so don't think that you're gonna come up here and you're gonna give me something new. You're not.
Are you finished?
Yes, I'm not finished yet. We're gonna keep on going. So yes, something can't come from nothing. Nothingness is not a thing. Nothingness doesn't exist. But if you're gonna be claiming that this proves a God, you're doing a non sequitur. I know that's where you're leading to.
Wonderful. Now may I finish?
I know that's where you're leading to.
Wonderful.
So what else do you have?
Now may I finish? Okay.
I know that's where you're leading to. So what else do you have?
Since we both agree that you can't get something out of nothing, would you agree that if there is something, that it has an origin? Yes or no?
Depends on what you're talking about.
Humans.
Human origins? Like we came from
human like you.
We came.
Do you have an origin?
Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on because I'm not gonna sit here and play around with jerks all day. All right, so Ryan.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Before we didn't even get to go.
Hey, can I jump in real quick?
Hold on, Ryan. Go ahead, Kay. Go ahead, Kay.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hold on, Ryan. Hold on, Ryan. Kay, you there? You was cutting out a bit.
When these Christians come up here, because that's exactly their belief. Because the story of Genesis is exactly that.
Exactly. All right. Ryan, how's it going, Ryan? Are you at least 18? And which number did you want to
talk about? Yes, I'm 19. 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
I kind of wanted. I was listening to what that other guy was saying. I want to ask you why you don't believe why you're an atheist.
I don't have any evidence that any gods are true, and not only that, they're unnecessary for me to live a good life.
Yeah, I agree that you don't need faith to live a good life, but like my question to you is, where do you think life comes from? Like, nowhere in nature do we see life coming from non-life. You know, you get what I'm saying? I think that's what
I mean. Life is an emergent. Life is likely an emergent property, a consequence of physics and chemistry. We still don't really know the origin of life yet, but abiogenesis, from what I've read, has the most evidence behind it. But for us to talk about this at length, you'll probably need to talk to an origin of life researcher, like a biologist or a chemist. Those guys will probably be able to tell you more. But we do know that amino acids and organic molecules, we found them abundantly in several things, right? On other rocks. I said rocks on asteroids, etc. Yeah, sure. We found them everywhere. So amino acids exist everywhere. Those are basically the building blocks of life. So it's probably an emergent property.
Mm-hmm. So I know, like, I'm pretty sure, like, the leading theory about, like, with evolution and that stuff is we came from, like, amoebas under the ocean and stuff like that, from, like, geysers and stuff, you know. And me personally, I don't see how we can get from that point to where we are now with us being intelligent beings who have thoughts, moral compasses, feelings, without an intelligent creator that puts us in that. Because when you look at wild animals and stuff, they run off their instincts, you know?
Yeah.
Run off our...
Ryan. I get that Ryan, I get that it's hard to comprehend, right? I do get that it's hard to comprehend, but that's because our human minds typically don't comprehend how big a billion is. You know what I mean? Like, for example, did you know, like, counting from 1 to 1 million, do you know how long it takes from 1 to 1 million?
Oh, probably. How many seconds are in a day? Like 22, 20.
Yeah, it takes about a week. It takes about a week to count from 1 to a million. Do you know how long it takes to count from 1 to 1 billion?
Oh,
30 years.
Yeah.
It takes 30 years to count from 1 to 1 billion. So a billion is a very, very long number. And the fact that the Earth has been around for 4 billion years. Yeah, I mean, of course, our minds can't comprehend how we went from single cell organisms all the way to what we are today. But 4 billion years is a very, very long time. Yeah, I mean, we just can't comprehend it. Like, think about it. The dinosaurs were around for 100 million years. Yeah, I mean, they've been around longer than, civilizations have existed. Yeah, I mean, like, Cleopatra existed closer to the invention of the iPhone than the building of the pyramids herself. You know what I'm saying? So that time is a very long time. So I get that it's hard to comprehend, but with enough time like that, things like that can happen. It makes sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but just because a long time has passed on our planet, why have we not found other life, intelligent life? You know, if you're stuck on us coming from like amoeba and amino acids and stuff like that, why has other life not been found?
Like intelligent life. I mean, it did exist. The other human species, the Neanderthals, the Destanovans.
I'm talking about off of Earth.
Oh, off of Earth. Oh, we don't know. We haven't discovered enough of the galaxy yet. Because the thing is, like discovering I always like this analogy. Thinking that there's no life in the galaxy is like taking a teaspoon of the ocean, not seeing any fish, and saying that there's no fish in the ocean. Like, you really can't do that, right? So we haven't really explored our galaxy yet. Space is very, very big.
Yeah, obviously, but like, I don't know. I think if evolution and evolving from these amino acids and stuff was that easy, where we go from nothing, from literally single cell organisms to full intelligent, like full intelligent beings, like that. Why is that not happening? Like, why have people who have not on other worlds who maybe evolved from that, like as soon as their planet was formed or stuff, like, why don't they come? to us, you know?
How many planets have you been to, Ray?
None.
Yeah, exactly. So we have no idea if it happened. We just haven't been to another planet. We don't know if it happened or not.
That's what I'm saying. Why doesn't someone come visit us if these planets are evolving acids? That's the intelligent life.
Yeah, that's the Fermi paradox. We have no idea why space is so silent. We don't know. There's a lot of solutions to the Fermi paradox. One of the solutions, as a matter of fact, and it's a very, very somber and sad solution, we may be the first ones. Yeah, it's a very sad solution, you know what I mean? Because I would love for me to meet a Klingon one day, but that may not happen, you know what I mean? Like, we may be the first intelligent life in this galaxy, and who knows, another intelligent life may exist in the Andromeda galaxy, but it's not going to run into our galaxy for another 4 million years. You know what I mean? So it's like, we don't know. We might be the first intelligent life in this galaxy. And it's a sad thing to know, but it might be. Now, I hope that's not true. I don't know if you've seen Project Hail Mary yet, but I hope like we run into something like Project Hail Mary, where there's another species out there that's completely different from us. But like, it's if you haven't watched Project Hail Mary yet, go watch it this weekend. It's on Prime. It's amazing. It's very good.
It's good. I haven't seen it.
I think it's one of those classic sci-fis. It's like watching Star Wars for the first time. Project Hail Mary is amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
All right, I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, but right now, Ray, we just don't know. We haven't ran into any other life yet. I think Kay had something to say, but she's on a thing right now. Let me get to St. Louis. I think St. Louis is a friendly of mine. St. Louis, you there? You there, St. Louis?
Okay. Yeah, yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Did he drop? Hey, Ray, you could have stayed up. I think St. Louis had more questions for you. Hey, St. Louis, looks like you're over 18. Are you a friendly of mine, or did you want to talk about one of the numbers?
I wanted to talk about one of the numbers, actually.
Oh, okay, cool. Not a problem. I appreciate you being here, Ryan. Come back anytime. All right, St. Louis, I'm going to go ahead and switch the clock up. All right, St. Louis, you did say that you're over 18. Which number did you want to talk about?
Number 3.
Number 3. Can you give me a good reason to believe in a God? All right, cool. Yeah, I'm not sure if you heard what I said to Ryan before, but the reason I don't believe now is because I don't have any evidence to believe that is true, and I don't. It's not necessary for me to live a good, moral, and righteous life. What would you say?
No, what actually I wanted to ask you that. Okay, he called you I don't know if you called yourself an atheist, right?
I'm an agnostic atheist, yes, sir.
Okay, so my question is, what is an atheist? Okay, so like me, growing up, I believed in Jesus, I believed in Christianity and all that. Now, I don't. I believe there is a higher power. I believe there is a God, but I don't believe in the Bible anymore. I don't believe the Jesus. I don't believe he's coming back because our great grandparents have been waiting on him to come back for I don't know how many years, and they passed away waiting on him to come back. And I just believe I too will also pass away if I keep believing that this person named Jesus is coming back. I just believe he's a character, just like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and Cupid and Baby New Year's. So I just wanted to give the explanation what is actually see everybody thinks the atheist is because you don't believe in Jesus, that you believe in Satan, and I don't believe that's true. So I just want to show aspect on what really is an atheist.
Gotcha. All right. So an atheist is a person who doesn't believe in any gods or any god or gods. Basically, lacking a belief, just like how you said, like it's a character, like the Tooth Fairy or Baby New Year and stuff like that. That's how basically God operates for me in my mind. It's basically a character. So that's what I mean. The same way that people don't believe in Santa Claus is the same way I don't believe in a God. Right. So that's what an atheist is. Now, the reason why I said I'm an agnostic atheist is because, like, if someone were to ask me, does a God exist somewhere out in the universe beyond space and time? I've never been beyond space and time, so I don't know. So I would say, yeah, I don't know. But if someone asked me if I believe in one, I would say, no, I don't believe in one. It seems fictional to me. You see what I mean? Now, when it comes to a higher power, for me, I don't have a lot of beef with that. I don't have any issues with that. My only thing is that when someone says higher power, I would say like I believe in a metaphorical higher power, like, you know, the will of humanity, you know what I mean? The power of black people, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's a higher power. Like the fact that we can be walking down the street and I see you, you see me, and we do the, that's a higher power. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So you don't believe in a God that woke you up this morning. You believe you woke yourself up this morning.
Yeah, I believe more in homeostasis. I woke myself up this morning. Now, here's what I would say, right? I don't have an issue with spirituality in and of itself because my parents are from Haiti, right? My grandmother was a Haitian voodoo practitioner. Voodoo is beautiful. You know what I mean? You hear a lot of like negative things about it, but voodoo, hoodoo, Santeria, Ife, those are root work, all those. They're beautiful. You know what I mean? So it's like I always encourage people of African descent to look into those and to destigmatize it because the colonizers did a number on us, bro. You know what I mean? So it's like always look into it. I don't have no issue with spirituality and stuff like that. Now, do I think that Yemoja is an actual god that I can burn sacrifices to? No, I don't think that's real. But can it be useful as like a metaphor for renewal, for virility, for female sexuality? Yeah, it can be used like that. Like I don't have any issues with that. I hope that all makes sense, St. Louis. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Let me see. What was something? Oh, it was one more thing. What did you say that movie was called?
Oh, Project Hail Mary. Very good. Very, very good.
Project Hail Mary.
Yeah. If you have Prime, watch it tonight. It's very good. I think it's like $19 though, so you might as well just buy it. Okay. But Project Hail Mary, yeah.
I'm cool with it. I'm always willing to learn. So if I have to pay to learn something,
there's a lot of science in it too.
It could be educational.
Exactly. But you know what I like about it? It's what you call hard sci-fi. I don't know if you ever seen. I don't know if you ever seen like Star Wars, right? You ever seen Star Wars? Yeah. Star Wars, what you would call soft sci-fi. You know what I mean? They have wizards and shit and the lightsabers and all that. Right. But Project.
Go ahead. Man, I grew up on it like Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, that was good. Battlestar Galactica was real good. I gotta rewatch it, bro.
Yeah, all of that.
I grew up on Star Trek, and Battlestar Galactica started when I was in high school, so it's like I couldn't go back and watch it. But like, I'm gonna go back and watch because I heard it was good. I grew up on Star Trek though. I used to watch DS9. DS9 was my favorite because it had Benjamin Sisko, the black one. Yeah, I mean, I used to love DS9. I'm sorry, y'all. We're nerding out right now. I'm sorry about that.
But go ahead. Nice conversation with you, bro. I just had them questions.
Not a problem, man. Follow me, and we can come back and talk anytime. I appreciate you. All right.
I'm following you. I'm gonna drop down in the comments though.
Not a problem. Hey, I appreciate you, St. Louis. W St. Louis in the comments, y'all. Drop some W's for St. Louis in the comments. We're gonna get to Godsend. I'm sorry, not Godsend. Man God. We're gonna get to Man God in just a second. W's for St. Louis in the comments. Once again, y'all, if you are watching me from the Black Atheist Coalition, the link is pinned for you to join. I appreciate y'all if y'all would like to join. tiny.cc/Volsi Live. I did see someone in the Volsi Thoughts comments. I think his name is B Surge. B Surge, I dropped the link in the comments. You can go ahead and join me. Oh, excuse me. I'm not sure if anyone else would like to talk. I do see Blofeld in the comments. I'm not sure if you're an op of mine, but you can go ahead and come on up if you are. B Surge, once again, the link is in the comments, tiny.cc/Volsi Live, where you can talk to me. If over on the Deconstruction Junction, once again, you can go ahead and talk to me, tiny.cc/Volsi Live. I appreciate you all for being here. We're going to get to Man God, how's it going, Man God? Are you at least 18? And which number did you want to talk about, my friend?
I just came in on the live. Yes, I am at least 18. I'm well over 18. Well, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm decent, man. I'm just scrolling through and happened to roll by, and I heard you talking about some stuff that I'm kind of interested in. I guess that's just part of the algorithm, anyways. But
yeah, sure. Which one did you want to talk about?
No, in general, you invited me in. Tell me what you want to talk about, man. Why did you invite me in?
Oh, I saw a comment. I must have misread it. So that's why I invited you up. I thought you wanted to talk about number 3 or 4 because I must have misread one of your comments. But did you want to talk about 3 or 4, or are you a believer or anything like that?
Oh, okay, let me look at it. As far as a believer, not quite like that. You know what I mean? I'm kind of a woke person, so let me see. Can you get real believe in your? Nah, I'm definitely not a 3 person and reliable to find. Yeah, I would say faith is unreliable if you want to find the truth.
Okay, all right, cool. So we
pretty much
good
agreeing on everything. I think I own what I meant. I think I said something to the fact of the Bible is mostly like the history of the United States. Yeah, I think I said that, and then you kind of like you laughed about it. Your comment was like laughing at that, and then you invited me in.
Oh, okay. I thought you were being for real. That's why I
I was being for real.
You said the Bible is the history of the United States?
Yeah, like most of the Bible, especially the Old Testament, is the history of the United States.
Why would you say that?
Yeah, because a lot of the places in the United States are directly they have the same names as a lot of the names of the Jewish people, I'm trying to think, but a lot of the names in the Bible are the names of cities and states in the United States.
Yeah, but that's only because the United States named them after those places, right? Not because the United States is literally those places.
Well, even the ancient maps had them also too, like before the new United States, then it wasn't the United States at first, but there was a nation before the United States, and these places already had these names, and these cities were already there.
Yeah, there were multiple nations before the United States. There was the Iroquois Confederacy. There was the Sioux Nations. There was the Blackfoot Indians. There were the Miccosukee down in Florida, the Seminole down in Florida. There were the Dakotas up in North Dakota. There were the Cherokees, which a lot of white people think that they are. Yeah, there were plenty of nations here before the United States. Sure.
Funny enough, I have Blackfoot admixture from generations back. So
oh, that's dope. Yeah. So there were those nations. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, and those were the descendants of Judah too, also, especially the land of Utah. I guess they kind of changed the name, but not really. So it's really supposed to be Judah and not Utah. And a lot of the cities in Utah have the same names as the descendants of Judah.
All right, so you're saying, I mean, Utah was named in that time because of what's his name, Joseph Smith. But when you're saying that the Native Americans are descendants of the ancient Israelites,
the tribe of Judah, yeah.
Okay,
the tribe of Judah specifically, yeah.
All right, there's literally zero evidence of that being the case. We have no records of the tribe of Judah coming over to the United States. We have no linguistic patterns that shows it to be the same. Literally nothing. Where's this coming from?
They have in old Bibles, you can find these old maps and stuff like that where they show the Red Sea actually being like, the separation of California from the mainland, and they show like these different places such as Egypt and just the names of different places right there on the United States continent. I mean the continent that the United States is on, the North American continent.
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, on the if you actually get a chance to find an old Bible, a really old Bible from like early 19th, early 20th century, like a 1920s Bible, or if you even get lucky and find a late 19th century Bible, like a 1880s Bible or something like that, it might have a map in it. And then on that map, it will show you, all these different places that's actually on the North American continent and not overseas somewhere else.
I have never heard of this at all. Can you show me where I can find this Bible at, and how do we know that it's not completely made up?
Oh, it's not gonna be easy to find that Bible. What you have to do is what I'll try to do is, I guess I'll go ahead on and I guess follow you or whatever, so that I can easily get this information to you as best as I can, because you're not going to easily find this information.
Why can I easily find this information? That's kind of weird, don't you think? Like, this is this information that goes against our entire established history and even anthropological science, and you're saying that we're not going to find it. Like, it's kind of crazy, isn't it?
No, because when it comes to the really old information, we already know that a lot of it was destroyed purposefully. So
why would that happen?
In order for them to push the agenda that they want to push, they have to get rid of a lot of, especially like a lot of black people in the United States, just like the lady was saying, are actually Indian people, Native American.
That ain't what I said.
Oh, I thought that's what you. I thought that's what you were.
No, I said I have Native American ancestry. I didn't say they were black.
Well, are they dark skinned?
Do you know that there are dark skinned people that are not racially black, right?
Oh, okay. So I didn't know that there were dark skinned people that weren't black. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there are dark skinned
people. Have you ever seen
black.
a South Asian? They're not black.
No, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
There are dark skinned South Asians. They're not black.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I didn't know that being melanated and being black was two separate
things.
Two totally things. Yeah.
Yep, they're two different things.
For example, I'm like because if being dark skinned were equivalent to being black, explain light skinned black people.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how that's what we call them. We call them black if they have black in them.
Yes, but that's the point, right? They're black, right? Not because of their skin tone, but that is because that's who they are. Having darker skin is not necessarily equivalent to being black.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, most people have dark skin, but not everyone that has dark skin is black.
So in order to be black, can you just throw out there a few nations that are considered black other than Africa?
Okay. So you have, like I mentioned, you have India, right? South Asians. They have extremely darker skinned people. They are not racially black at all. They're not racially black. They're not black.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same thing with.
You have Native Americans, for example, that do have very rich melanin skin, but they are not racially black. If you look at their facial features, you look at their hair texture, everything outside of skin tone, none of them represent what a sub-Saharan African looks like.
Mm-hmm.
None of them.
Oh, well, I don't mean to be disrespectful. It's just when I say black, I'm speaking on like melanated people. I'm not talking about the American standard for what black is.
It's not the American standard. It's what blackness is. Because we're not talking about the ethnicity. We're talking about the racial classification of black applies to people who are of African descent. and have African ancestry. Someone who is from South Asia, someone who is Native American, that has very rich melanin, are not black.
Yeah, and you sure that's not just a Western philosophy?
Nah, we're very, very sure it's not just the Western philosophy. Very, very sure.
It's not the Western philosophy because that is how race is classified globally.
Okay, because from what I understand,
when you look at the racial classification of black in other countries, they're also referring to people of African descent. Whether you're talking about the UK, whether you're talking about Canada, whether you're talking about South America, South American countries, and Latin American countries, whether you're talking about in the Caribbean, etc., they were referring to people of African descent.
That's what they are referring to. African descended people, not just having a darker skin tone.
Yeah, but I also understand too that when you go to these other places such as Asia, pretty much anywhere in Asia, the darker skinned people are, I guess, just to keep it simple, it's more difficult for the darker skinned people than it is the lighter skinned people. So it's almost like they're doing the same thing.
But my
global colorism.
And
yeah, so the darker skinned people do have more issues than the lighter skinned people in places like India, right? But that's because of things like the caste system, colonialism that made fairer skin the standard, et cetera, et cetera. That's the reason, not because they're just as black people. Makes sense.
I'll accept it. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Let's see if we can. I think we can just go ahead and move on now. If you don't have anything else, man, God, but I do appreciate you being here.
I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Leo, I have seen.
Yeah, I'll try to.
Native Americans in real life.
Yeah, I've also seen Native Americans in real life. They definitely ain't black.
Americans, I've never thought they were black.
Yeah, I think Leo was asking man God that, but yeah, I've
Native.
I've seen them and they never like. You have a bit of you have a bit of a delay.
They are not black people. Color.
You have a bit of a delay, by the way.
I've seen two different kinds. I've seen the one that looked Asian, and then I've seen the one that looked kind of like if you ever seen that the Indiana Pacers mascot.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I've seen the ones that look like that too, but they were dark brown skin. They might have had a different hair texture, but
But the point of the matter is, wait, am I good now?
You're good now.
Volsi? Yeah, I'm like, so they're not black people still. That is the point. Like, I'm not saying that that black people are the only ones with richly melanated skin, because I can acknowledge that there are people across the globe that are richly melanated. They're not all black though.
Yeah, I mean, I accept that. That's the definition of black is being from African ancestry. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, Leo. I'm like, Leo. I'm like, I don't, but I still want to get Leo. Where did you ever see I'm like someone who is not Afro-Indigenous? Because that is a different thing. Someone that was not Afro-Indigenous, someone who was mixed with Native and Black, right? That you thought that they were a straight up Black person.
Yeah, that
I have never seen that in my life.
Yeah, me neither. All right, we're gonna go ahead and
they, I'm like, in those cases, they look Black because they have African ancestry,
they probably
not because Native Americans are Black.
Yeah, they probably do have African ancestry. Yeah, I've seen a few that I thought were black people, but they just had African ancestry, and they were from the reservations.
Yeah, that's because there are Afro-Indigenous people who are mixed with black and and different Native American ethnicities, right? So that is a thing, right? That doesn't make the Native Americans to the American soil necessarily black people. It means that black people and natives mixed together. They had children together.
Yep. All righty. So we're gonna go ahead and move on, man, God. But I do appreciate you being up. Come back anytime. All right.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, that was him with the static. All right, guys, we're still here. We're gonna go ahead and wait for probably one more person. I do have someone named Stanley over in my Volsi Thoughts chat. That's what I've been talking to for the past few minutes. Stanley, I'm still waiting for you to come up. You know, I mean, you said a long time ago if white people can join. I told you, yeah, you can join. You know what I mean? We can go ahead and talk about any of the other ones that you have on the board, but Stanley, you haven't joined up yet. Not sure why. Over on the Black Atheist Coalition, you also can come up tiny.cc/Volsi Live whenever you can. Go ahead and come on up. I do see CG Forbes in the comments still. You told me that you can't join now when I told you to come up, but you're still in the comments. So if you can join, then go ahead and come on in. Over on the Deconstruction Junction, I appreciate y'all for being over there. If anyone would like to talk to me over on Deconstruction Junction, once again, the link is pinned, tiny.cc/Volsi Live. We can go ahead and talk whenever you would like. And
Aaron, that's false. Italians were never considered black people. Now, there was a time where they were considered white, but that did not make them black. They were not considered black people. Now, a lot of them, because of because of their being white in history, they're being very white presenting black people within Black American history. A lot of times they would be confused for Italian, or they would pass on across the racial lines, and they would say that they were Italian, because a lot of Italians, specifically Sicilians, they are more tan compared to other white people, but they are absolutely still white. Now, even in this country, they were not always considered white, but they were not considered black people. And now that is proven by the fact that they were able to eventually get into whiteness. And that is not something that black people can do. Black people cannot, no matter what, black people will never be able to integrate into whiteness.
No matter how much y'all folks over from the Caribbean and Africa try to integrate yourself into whiteness, especially you Cubans. You're white in Florida. Yeah, especially for Miami Cubans. For Miami Cubans, you're white in Florida. The moment you go over to Mississippi, you ain't white no more.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing, right? They were not always considered. I will give you that they were not always racially considered white. They were being othered, but they were being othered because of Anglo-Saxon Europeans who were bigoted and basically being colorists towards other white people. They were doing that. They were othering Italians because they were more tan compared to Anglo-Saxon Europeans, but they are European nonetheless. They are absolutely white, and that is and because they were able to integrate into whiteness, they were able to do that because they do share ancestry and share a similar phenotype. Black people cannot do that. In fact, race as a construct was absolutely created, it's structured in such a way that would prevent any black person from integrating into blackness. In fact, that was exactly the purpose historically for the one drop rule, for black people to not be able to gain white privileges.
Yeah. Yep, that was the reason. They were other. They were considered some other part of white, but they were not considered like fully white. As a matter of fact, the way that the Irish and Italian became white is that they had to basically take on the cultural and racist hierarchy of America. And there's
in order to gain access to whiteness, they did have to do that.
And there's a no, it's our Aaron. We all
yeah, that's fine.
So there's actually a newspaper clipping called The White Man's Government, where it's a stereotypical like feature of an Irish person who's all drunk and stuff like that, but he's stomping on a black person's head because like they wanted to make sure that the white men, which include Irish and Italians and Germans and stuff like that, would rule over black people. It's a pretty disgusting cartoon, but you should look it up, and that's part of how the Irish became white. That's how the Italians became white as well.
Yeah, that's exactly how they became white, because the reality is this, right? Let's be clear. If black people could integrate into whiteness, let's say that were even a possibility, Clarence Thomas and Stacey Dash would have been had they white card.
They would have been had it. Yep.
Okay. Stacey Dash would have been had they white card. The mere fact, but here is the mere fact, honey. No matter how much you appeal to white supremacy, one thing that a black person will always be is black. Right? So so black people cannot escape the realities of being black, especially darker skinned, unambiguous black people. That is not something that they can escape. No matter how much they would try. There's no amount of straightening your hair. There's no amount of rhinoplasties you can get. There is actually nothing you can do as a black person to escape white supremacy. And that is actually on a global scale. It's actually beyond American borders, but I know America the best, right? Because that's where I'm from. But I am also where my people are from. But I do know this, that anti-blackness and white supremacy are so global that even non-white communities discriminate against black people, including in Asia. And that is not something that you can say about black countries. Black countries do not discriminate against people based on their race and ethnicity or their national origin. Not necessarily the race and ethnicity, though. Yeah. We do not have slurs for Asians in the black community. Black Americans do not have slurs for Caribbeans and Africans. But let's be clear, and Volsi, this is no shade. They do have slurs for black Americans, though.
They do, yeah.
Okay, so even in that. Right, it's clear as day that how blackness as a race, not the ethnicity, because that's a whole other thing. Black people outside the United States can't understand that black in America doubles as both a race and an ethnicity. For people who are descendants of a chattel slavery in America, when people say black culture, they are not talking about Jamaicans, they're not talking about Haitians. That is black American culture that they are talking about, right? Black culture, right? Black power, right? Soul, that is a black American thing, right? We are ethnically black as well as racially black. But that's the thing, right? On a global scale, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in Asia, whether you're in the Caribbean, in fact, skin bleaching being a common thing, no shade, Volsi, in the Caribbean as well as the African continent is literally a byproduct of white supremacy and anti-blackness. Yeah, black American. Let's be clear, and that is not, and that's also something that Black Americans do not do. In fact, and that's why anytime I get into it with a Caribbean bitch that wants to play with Black Americans, I love to remind a bitch that they bleach their skin in the Caribbean, and a Black American would never.
What's funny about that? When people started bleaching in Haiti, we made a whole meme about it, right? And it was the first English meme in Haiti. It was called "Why You Bleach," Whenever we saw black people bleaching, it was called "Why You Bleach." Yeah. It was funny because in Haiti we made fun of you for that. They made fun of you for that shit. That's why it never took off over there, because people started making fun of you. They were like, "Why you bleach? Why you?"
And
bleach?
that is exactly how it is in America. Let me tell you something. A self-hating black person is more likely to get a rhinoplasty than to bleach their skin.
They bleach their skin. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Like,
it was so funny because back then, right, I was in a whole bunch of Haitian Facebook groups, and I kept on seeing "Why You Bleach" everywhere, and I was like, where did this come from? And people saying like in Haiti there were people who started skin bleaching, and they got roasted to hell, bro. They got roasted to hell when they started skin bleaching, so much so that they stopped and started posting pictures of them stopping bleaching because they got roasted so badly. It was a meme called "Why You Bleach."
It is such a common thing. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry in both the Caribbean and in the African continent. Mm-hmm. Like what you will not see in Black American households. And like it was so funny because there was that whole thing where African women were saying, like, I found out this product because of this whole situation where African women were basically saying that Black American were buying this bleaching product from that African women typically use. And I said, bitch, you wish, girl. Apparently, I think it was called, I'm like, I forget what it was called. I'm like, I said, bitch, a Black American woman would never. Mm-hmm. Like we do, like y'all can say all the fuck y'all want about Black Americans, but one thing we're not known for is bleaching, bitch. We do not do that. And it's not to say that we don't have colorism issues that we need to address, but we do not bleach, bitch. No. Yeah. Yeah, that is not something we do. No. That is Caribbeans and Africans. You better keep that over there with the Caribbean women and the African women. Black American women don't do that.
But that is one thing that I could say that did not take off in Haiti was skin bleaching.
Apparently Haiti is the only one because the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, all them other countries, they love bleach. Jamaica especially, my God. And
I don't know why, bro, because I was like, yo, y'all skin was already good, bro. Why was y'all bleach? What was all that for? But it is a big stereotype, but the stereotype comes from somewhere, you know what I mean? And it was like, I was always like fascinated by people who started skin bleaching because it did. Now I'll be fair. It did start taking off in Haiti a little bit, but when people started getting roasted, that's when it started to calm down.
Listen, Black American, and to find out that Lil' Kim is not Black American but Caribbean made perfect sense to me because I did not know that for a second. But let me tell you something: Lil' Kim cannot rest in peace because she bleached, honey. Yeah, bleached. Yep. She gets dragged constantly, okay? She gets called chicken head bitch and all of that shit. Lil' Kim, let's be clear. Lil' Kim, do you know how many memes are made about Lil' Kim and skin bleaching in Black circles? Do you know how many? A Black American woman would never.
Oh, bad. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and get out. I don't think we have any more guests. Over on the YouTube, there were people who said they were going to come up, but they never came up. But I think we're out of guests, y'all. We're going to go ahead and end it for tonight. Y'all remember to follow Kay everywhere. Make sure to follow Kay. She has lots of information. She beats on panels as well. I don't be on those panels because I be doing something, so I don't be on them, but I'll be doing something.
I'm like, and he knows because I be sending it to him sometimes. But also, like,
I be trying, man. I'm sorry, I be trying, but it's like, damn, I'm doing something right now. I can't join. But it also helps, like the algorithm too. Like when I'm in the live, so I just be sending it to random people too. So sometimes it's not even intentional. I just be sending it out because it helps the algorithm. Yeah. I do it in your lives all the time too. Yeah. So, I'll be trying to. There are times where I can finally get on the live and I just like it up because you're there. You know what I mean? To make sure that the algo gets it. So but I just can't join because I'm doing something else. But we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, guys. Once again, I do appreciate y'all. I do love y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. We are going to get out of here, and once again, I'm going to be starting my positive masculinity series in June. In June, we're going to be talking about positive masculinity, being secure, being affectionate, being wise, being flexible, being trustworthy. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for being around. Love y'all. Peace out. All right. Y'all have a good night. Let me go get an edible. Babe, bust out the edibles. I'm going to go get one.